Hey everybody, so we're back. This is going to be part two, and we're just going to continue working on um, the triangles and all the pieces and parts. Welcome in, Rita. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. I promise I am here. I'm just have not been getting going as early as I used to. So we will get going with all of this. So I did go lay it out. Um, and if you guys remember the layout on the camera or on the wall earlier, it was beautiful, but I'm not sure that it's going to work. Um, so one thing I'm going to do is we're going to separate these out into sizes so that we have matching sizes. So one thing I did do is I went ahead and some of these are in stacks of three or they're paired up in stacks of three. But my outside edges are still kind of wobbly. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to do today. So, so how are you doing today, Rita? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you for being here. I know that this was kind of like a short notice live, like didn't have a lot of lead time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome in, Linda. She says hello, everyone. She'll be in and out to start dinner. Oh, no worries, no worries. I I have been in and out of my studio kind of all morning, just kind of trying to get something figured out with these. All right, so those are kind of the same size. Oh, you guys can't see that. Here we go. So these are the same size. Awesome. Rita says she's doing great. That's fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, we're just going to separate these out first before I do anything else. Um, Somewhere in the mix, I did end up mixing in accidentally some of the ones I didn't intend to mix in. And those are not those. Those are not the same size. So we're just going to keep separating these out real quick. And then we're going to come up with some universal sizes to work with. Um, like I said, I did get these separated into stacks, mostly stacks of three if they were identical. So I'm going to separate them into those kinds of stacks. And I finally got the little bitty one cut, guys. Look at how tiny this is. It's so tiny. And this isn't my biggest one, but look at how it compares. It is so small. So this is the smallest strip set compared to one of the much larger ones. Um, and there were a lot of these because, you can get a lot when you're not having to cut across that big of a difference. But even these have some kind of like the wavy edges on the outside and all of that going on too. So we're gonna put all of that aside. Let's see. Rita says she's doing great. Been listening to live dog concerts. I think dogs like listening to you, Tammy. They're going at it loud. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm getting serenaded. That's exciting. Maybe they think I'm coming over to come give them some TREATS. Maybe that's what the deal is. They're already excited. They're just waiting for me to show up. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. All right, so that's all the little bitty ones. These were the last ones that I cut, so I know that they're pretty well all in their single pile. And here's one of the really large ones. So this is larger than even these. So they need their own stack. And so I should have kept them separate, but I didn't. I took them and laid them out on the kitchen floor to see if I could figure out exactly how I wanted to lay them out. And spoiler alert, I had no ideas. I got them out there and they did not do what I was expecting them to do at all. All right, I think this is part of that last triangle set because I think I've got different sizes maybe. I think that might be what's going on with that. I don't know. We will find out shortly. I thought they were all the same size apparently in that stack, and they're not. They are most definitely not. So we're going to see what kind of sizes we end up with and see if we can just trim these up and make them all work, or if we've got to do some fancy work to make them work. Okay, that is those. That is those right there. And I think these are going to be the opposites right there. Yep, sure. And this next stack, oh, I got 4 in this stack. So I don't know what I was doing. I was picking them all up at the same time. All right, and they are not that size, but they might be, they're that size. Okay. So we're gonna move that over so I can kind of keep the strip sets together. I'll lay my big ones out over off to the side. So I think that's what this next 1 or 2 are. It's part of that big strip set. And I do have the window open again, guys. So if you hear random dogs, random people, it is not me or my husband. It is someone completely unrelated. It is somebody outside having a good day. That's what we're going to go with. All right, these are much bigger, so they are going to go in the big pile. And we'll separate out the super big ones here in just a minute as well. Like I said, I thought this was going to be a little bit easier, but what do I know? That was apparently not going to be the case. I was not going to get that lucky with this. So yeah, no. There we go. Some of these are really kind of close in size too. So it kind of makes it a little bit harder to tell the difference until you are laying them on top of each other. So we're gonna make these the same size, I think. We're gonna trim them down. Welcome in, Judy. Oh, you're so welcome. She says, thank you for the suggestion. Guys, if you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, it's a good idea to join. You can get free support, free help with anything that you're working on, and yeah, it's a good place. It's a great place to come hang out. I found a strip set that is missing a strip, so we're gonna see what happens. Ollie says, more yellow, Tammy, are you okay? Oh, this is the same stuff that was on the wall, Ollie. Oh, that's possible, Rita. She says that she thinks her dogs are hearing dogs in the background. It's very possible. Very, very possible. There's dogs, there's people, everybody's kind of getting out and about now that the snow has stopped and it's starting to melt. Everybody's getting out and doing the whole we don't want to be stuck inside anymore thing. So that's what's happening. That's a lot of what's happening. All right, this one does not match any of those. Neither does that one. This one might. Let's see. Doesn't match that one, but it does match that one. Okay, I think I've got all of these put up together. All right, so now we can look at the big ones and pull them out. Let's see. I know, Ollie, yellow is just not my normal thing, but we're gonna make it work. We're going to make it work. We're gonna have to make it work. Yellow for the people, right? Is that what we're doing? Yellow for the people? All right, so I don't know. I mean, there's 2 different size strips in here, guys. So I've got a narrow strip and a wide strip. So I think I cut 2 sets that ended up about the same size. But the size of the strips in that set is what's going to determine which stack they go into. I think that's what ended up happening is, and why there was so much confusion with these larger strips, is because I ended up with the mix-up. Let's see, they keep going under my computer desk where my subwoofer sits and then looking at the computer. They're trying to find the dogs. I love it. Ollie says, grinding our teeth, make it work. Yes, very much so. we're just going to grit our teeth. We're going to smile because that's what you're supposed to do when you're working with yellow. And maybe that's why I don't like yellow, because you're supposed to smile when you're looking at it. And you're supposed to grin when you say yellow. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm averse to the whole smiling and grinning and nodding thing. Maybe that's what it is. All right, so those are the big yellow strips. The ones with the yellow on them, rather. Okay, so that one matches that strip. So we're going to look for, well, I'm looking at the, okay, there we go. I need to look at the size of that strip. That's what's going to determine which pile these go into. Oh, we are playing the matching game. You know, I look at those, you know, you should have gone to preschool things where, you know, people are obviously making fun of someone for not thinking something through. You guys are more than welcome to screenshot, and I will side with you that I did not think this through. I am allowing you. I will become a meme for your sake. Only thing that happens is the commercial comes to mind. Oh, yes, I'm not singing the song. You cannot make me. You cannot get me to. I know the song we're talking about. That one gets stuck in my head, and if I try to go to sleep with that one stuck in my head, it will not go anywhere. It will keep coming back, and it will not let me rest. Okay, I think that's all for those. So let me see what these are. I think these are all the ones. I think these are the ones we cut, yeah, from that other strip set. The first one we cut, that was really, really wonky. Welcome in, Chloe. Oh no, we are not singing that song. You guys are more than welcome to sing it, but I am not participating in the serenade with that song. It is not happening. It is not happening. Not happening. Never, no, never. I thought it was an unfinished project. Someone gave you or picked up at a swap because it had yellow in it. Okay, so the original idea, as you're looking at these colors, I was thinking, this is my brain thoughts from back in whenever this was. I want to say 2012, 2013, something like that. I was thinking that I would do an improvisational piece to make you elicit the feelings that you're looking at a fire or a fireplace. So the entire quilt was going to be yellow into red into black because, you know, the wood at the bottom of the fire or something like that, or what it's burning off of, like a match. You know, so I wanted to evoke the feeling of fire. And so that's where these strip sets came into play. And what I think I was going to do was some improvisational cutting and some circular cutting to make these into a pretty substantial piece. And I just never got around to it. It didn't appeal to me enough after I started it to actually finish it. So that's where all the yellow came from. The yellow came from my thoughts of fire, so yellow into orange. Like that was my mindset, is yellow into orange. And obviously I failed. Because I have not done anything with this and it sat for so long. So we're gonna see what we can put together with it. I apologize, I was having to get my caffeine in. Okay. These are the odd ones. These are the very, very odd ones. They're going to be held until I come up with what I need to come up with. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to put the bottom of one of these on my mat, and we're going to kind of see how far up it goes. Okay, so we're looking at just over 12 inches, so 12 and a half, thereabouts, is how high this is. How tall, rather. That's how tall that one is. And so we've got And we've got odd numbers, guys. So we got 4 of those. And these are that same. So we got 9 total that are 12 inches tall. So let me set them off to the side. Let me move the odd ones way off my side. Okay. This is the next one. And this one is just under 12 and a half. Oh no, this one's about 12 and a half as well. So once I trim out a little bit, I'm probably going to make these about 11 maybe, something like that. I'm thinking. All right. And we've got 4 of that one. And what you want to bet, we got 5 of this one. Yep, we got 5 of this one. So that's what we got out of those strip sets. So we got an 18 total, and I could combine both of those first 2 into the same group. All right, these are fairly small, so let me go back to the next size. I think these are the next size, or let me see. Yeah, these are the next size ones. And laying it out, it's coming up about 10 and a half, so it'll come out to be about 10 inches tall. So, and that one we've got 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we've got 11 of those. This is a great one to see the whole process of doing this. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And I've got a couple of ideas of things we may try. So you guys get to hear me out. We're gonna play. We're gonna play some and see what we end up with. The worst thing that can happen is I have to pull out Jack. All right, so this one's about 9 before seam allowance, so we're talking about 8 and a half. And got 2, 4, 6, 7, and we got 2, 4, 6, 5, 6. So I got 13 of those, and let's see, these are going to end up being 7 and a half, so that's a full inch smaller at the minimum. And let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I bet you there's either 7 or 9 in here. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I got an even number. We got 16 of those. You know, if I think about the fire aspect, the pieces are arranged so that it makes a scene of like mountain peaks on the fire in the distance, then some peaks closer up. Yeah, I think that might actually be the route I'm going. That's kind of what is in my head about it. All right, so these little baby ones, we're looking at 3 and a half finished. They're tiny. You guys can't even see the whole thing. They're tiny. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 of those. And got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we got 30 of those. So I got a ton of these. So I think I am going to go with that mountain theme. I think I kind of like that idea, and that's kind of what I've been toying with in my head because I don't have an even number of anything. Like just nothing is even at all. But the problem becomes how big is this quilt actually going to end up being? So let me transition you guys back so you can see me. Okay, so and the lighting is kind of funky today because there's so much natural light coming in, so there's more shadow. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Okay, so my largest ones, the full size ones, that came out to be about 12 inches tall, they're coming out to be about 14 inches long before sewing them. So I think what I'm going to do, and I don't know, I really didn't want to add more fabric to this, but I think I need to. Hi Carrie, welcome in. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So if I add fabric in, I can kind of offset everything and make it a little bit more appealing, if that makes sense. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. But bear with me just a second. And let me get in. I'm still going to be able to talk, but you guys may not be able to see me because I'm going to get really, really close to the camera. I'm going to get really, really close to the camera. So I'm thinking that I want to do, like, I would love to do a black, but I'm not sure that black would be the best suited because then we're going to see all the imperfections. But we may still do black. That may still be in the plans. So let me see what I got. I do have a navy blue. Do I have fabric to make more blocks? Oh no, I don't have any more of these fabrics. So the yellow, like all of these, no, there are no more fabrics of this. I think these were Walmart fabrics maybe. And I originally thought maybe they were jelly rolls, but it's not adding up. Black matches colors, yeah, it does. Tan or gray. I could probably get away with the tan. I don't think I have a gray that will work. I have a lot of white on whites, guys. That's a lot of what my back fabric is. I have kind of like a navy, or not a navy blue, but a royal blue. And I have a lot of that. Let me pull that out just so you guys can see. So with up against the blue, it would definitely show up, but I'm not sure it's not the right shade. I don't think. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Let me pull this black out. This is black grunge kind of. And see, I was worried originally, but I think it would be okay. Because even though the black in this is fairly dark, I think it will be okay. Let me know what you're thinking about these two so far as I stab myself. And I'm looking, oh, I do have a different blue. And I don't know how much of it I've got, but it's fairly thick here. Purple would just make the colors look like an Easter theme. Yeah, it would. Purple would not be a good choice. Now this is like a dark blue. It's mottled a little bit, but I think it's a better match if we do a blue. You want the fire stuff, so keep it in that aspect. Maybe very light orange or peach. I do not have a light orange, and the peach that I have is not going to be. I don't have enough of it. I might have. Let me see. We can kind of measure some of this, and I can sub in something else as we need to. I do have a solid brown. Blue does not work. Okay. Okay, good question, Carrie. So the ones that are in that shelf down there, those are reserved for a very specific project. So I would have to put this whole project on hold until that project is done, which it will not be done for a year. So I won't be able to pull any of those out. But even if I could, they're going to be a lot brighter than these colors. How much do I need? I don't know. And this is scrap, so it won't matter. I don't have anything lighter on my blues. Those two blues are about my best options for blues. Okay, you like the brown, Chloe? Okay. So it's between brown and black. No, on the back wall. Yeah, the over there in the cubby against the back wall, like down there, those down there are going to be too bright. And they're reserved for a project. That's why they're in that one cubby. Now the ones back here, those are all fat quarters. There's no way I'm going to have enough of any of those unless I get really, really lucky. And I doubt it. The majority of all that fabric is fat quarters or half yards. The black is too dark. Okay, so the brown looks good. So we got 2 votes for the brown so far. Okay, let me get these put up and stop stabbing myself in the process. Because that really, really hurts. I've done it like 3 times now for every bolt that I pulled out. And these are my solids, guys. I was looking through my prints too while I was over here, and I don't have anything that's gonna match texture or like the weight of the fabric. Like I've got some canvases that would match, but they're gonna be too heavy. What about using green? I don't have any green. Well, I've got one dark green, very, very dark green. And I'm not sure. I think I've got more of this brown than I do of that green. So I really don't have anything like that. The brown is a second to black, I think. It does kind of make the roses float, doesn't it? But I think the brown will work well too, because it will kind of give more of that fire theme to it. I think it will give the fire theme. I think we'll stick with that. All right, so I'm gonna bring you guys back over to the table so you guys can see what I'm gonna do. All right, so we've got the brown and we've got our pieces here. So I was thinking about doing, let me unroll some of this. Again, this is scrap left over from a quilt, guys. So whatever I have of this is all I have. So we do need to make the most of whatever we've got. I'd really rather not rip it all back out and have to fix it. All right. Let's just roll it all off. Chloe says, "Yay for brown!" Right. I did a quilt for one of my stepdaughters, and her favorite colors are green and gold. And so when I did her quilt, we were going with the natural Mother Earth vibe that she wanted. So we were kind of doing everything in keeping with that. Judy says she likes the brown with those colors. Okay, that works. That works. All right. So this is why I say, guys, anytime you want to send me fabric, you're more than welcome to. I will not turn down fabric because I am always finding new projects to work on with it. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I can just put the triangles like that, and it does kind of look like candy corn, so I will hand you that. It does kind of look like candy corn, but do the brown as stashing in between the pieces, and see what I come up with. I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. And because I don't know how big all of this is going to end up being, we're gonna start with the largest ones first. And then we're going to go down, and then we're going to go down, and then we're going to go down. Does that make sense? So we're going to start with these super large ones, and then we're just going to start moving our way down. And whichever one I've got more of on the odd numbers, that will be what's on the outside. So if I've got more of these, I will put them on the outside. If I've got more of these, I'll put these on the outside. So it'll end up being an even look to it. But I think that's what we're going to go with. All right, so let me recount. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So it is these that's going to be the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut strips, and we're just going to put our strips on here and attach the whole row together and make one long row. So these are already 14, they'll come out about 14 inches long. So, let's see, let's do a little bit of math. Let's do math. We have to have our math skills. We're going to get our math degree, right? We're going to have some math skills. Okay, so if I've got 9 and they're going to come out about 14, we're looking at 126 inches, which really seems... Oh, we're not going to have all 9 that way. I apologize. We are going to have 5 that are that way. So we're looking at about 70 inches. And I know this is going to add in some more to that. But I think what I want to do is maybe do 1.5 inch strips. So it will be a 1 inch difference between the two. What do you guys think? Because that will add like 8 inches. So it'll be like 78 inches wide. Something like that. And then we can always border this out with something. We can always find something. There's always fabric somewhere, somehow, some way to add to things. I think I will. Doing small strips, I think I will. When we start adding like row sashing, that may be a little bit more challenging. And then I probably don't have enough for borders. I will say that. I probably don't have enough for that. But we're going to see what I got. We're going to see how far we can make this go. So let me set those up. And let me get these odd ones out of my way for the moment because I keep tripping over them. But please do not let me forget I've got the odd ones because I will forget that I have them. All right, I'm also going to turn on my iron so it can be warming up. And, oh good, I actually have a full length of width. So it's got one fold on one side and then a sellet or a cut edge. And then we have a fold here at the bottom. Yeah, black would be another option. And I probably do have enough of the black. But I do think I like the look of the brown better. So we're going to stick with the brown for at least now. All right, so I'm going to trim this up. This is going to give me a clean edge to work with. And if you are like me and you need to sit down to cut, having your fabric folded properly into quarters where you can use a smaller ruler really does come in handy. Really, really does. All right, so if I'm going to add a 1 inch sashing, then I need to cut these at 1.5, which is going to give us the most bang for our buck when it comes to this fabric, because we're not going to be cutting that much into the fabric. And then if we're using the same size strips the whole way, we may not have to do as many of these. Now I will need setting triangles as well. So we're going to only cut what I think I need right at the moment. And then we'll see if we've got enough for setting triangles or if we need to do something different when it comes down to the end of everything. All right, so that gives us 4 pieces or 8 pieces. Let's go for 2 more cuts and then we'll go to the sewing machine for a little bit. We will go to the sewing machine. And I am making sure not to cut into my pieces that are sitting up here. So I am watching to make sure I know where they're at, so I'm not accidentally cutting into them. One thing I'm also going to do is I am going to press towards the sashing when I get these sewn on. So I'm not going to have all the seams pressed toward the sash. Well, actually I might press towards the sashing. That would actually be a better idea. I'm going to press towards the sashing. So I'm just going to fold this up for the moment. I mean, I think with what I've got, I will have enough to do setting triangles, but again, we're going to wait and see. We're going to wait and see. All right, let's bring you guys back over. And you know what? I'm going to see. Let's get this guy set up too. I did not get him set up earlier. And I'm going to have to walk around him a lot. That's kind of why I haven't been using him lately. But if I can use him, then we're gonna use him. We are going to use him if we can. All right, let's lower him down a little bit. I'm not that tall. Do you ever have that problem where like somebody's taking your picture and you're just not tall enough for whoever's taking your picture? Because that happens to me all the time. Do I have orange? I do. But the orange that I just received, I could use. And I have a lot of it. I have like 4 yards of it. So not enough for a backing, but I have 4 yards. It's safety orange. It is incredibly bright. Like really, really bright. So I'm not sure how well that would work. And I do not have a way to turn off the light on Ricky, so I apologize in advance, guys. I can't turn the light off and make it any more visible than what it is. I wonder if the setting triangles could be that dark green. Which dark green? I didn't pull out a dark green. I do have a dark green, I think. Yeah, I got a couple, possibly a couple. They're very, very dark. I mean, I can see if we've got enough of either of those to do this. That's fine with me. I may have to pull out my full ironing board if this thing is not going to let me get hot enough. We're going to see. We're going to see. All right. So my sashing strip, let me move the extras out of the way. And this is going to be an outside triangle because the yellow is up at the top. I mentioned it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I didn't think I pulled it out. What I'm going to do, because I don't know what I'm going to do yet with the top, I'm going to leave an overhang of about 1 inch past my seam allowance. So I have a little bit of wiggle room. We're going to see what it's going to look like and if I really need the wiggle room or what's going to happen. Oh yeah, no, I hear you, Judy. She says she's just trying to think of options just in case, right? The green would probably work. It might still be a little dark. I'm trying to think of what else would work because that orange is going to be incredibly bright. And I'm trying not to buy any more. Trying to think of what else I got. Maybe I have like a red that might work too. I might have a red. If I don't have something else. I might have a patterned gold that might work too. That would still give that Earth Mother vibe kind of thing going. Let's see. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to be sewing this onto every piece of this set, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain sew. Or chain piece. So I've got this first one in here. The next one, I'm going to go ahead and sew all the yellow topped ones. I'm just going to make sure I pulled from the same pile. Yes, those are the same size. So I'm going to leave it under the machine. And to give myself that extra inch, I'm going to just continue to sew. So there's no need to cut it off the machine just yet. I'm just going to leave some extra room. And if we have to piece these together later, we'll piece them together. Leaves room for possible 2 allowances. Gold would work nice too. Yes, it might. I'm more likely going to have a gold that will work than a lot of the other options we've looked at. Just, thinking out loud about it, I think that's what I'm going to have that will complement it nicely. And anytime I trim any of this off, I'm going to save it because I can always piece it together and make a longer piece. So I'm not going to let it worry me. This is going to be a fun project. Yeah, I'm determined. It's going to be a fun project, and there's no reason for me to worry. All right, let's see if we got enough room. Nope, we do not without piecing it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my piece off, and I'm going to go ahead, grab my next piece of this, and because it is a solid, it doesn't matter which side I use. Both sides of this fabric look identical. This was the quilt backing on my stepdaughter's quilt, and I bought it back when I thought I knew what I was doing. Disclaimer alert, in the sense of, being honest with you guys, I really didn't know what I was doing. Way back then, I had no idea what I was doing. All right, so I've got that seam sewn. I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick press, and then we're going to keep sewing. We're going to add more to this. I'm not going to sew all the strips to this because I don't want to accidentally turn this seam the wrong direction as I'm going through this. So I'm not going to bother with that. But, I'll press that one seam. All right, so look about where I want to put my next piece. Give myself about an inch or so. And we're going to start again down here at the top. Down here at the top. So we're going to start at the top. And I should be able to get the last, I have 3 pieces, so I should be able to get the last 3 now that I've attached it partway through, and we're going to have a seam in the middle. So I should be able to get all 3 of the remaining ones that face this direction onto this one strip. And then we can make sure that we're going to sew the strips on the right direction on the other half. And guys, you're going to laugh at me. I sewed it wrong. I sewed it backwards. I did it. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to rip it out and we will re-sew this seam. Now, if you guys weren't here, I would just be talking to myself, mumbling about, how crazy it is that I just managed to do that. So I'm glad you guys are here so I can mumble to you about how crazy I am that I just did that. And I was just saying that I didn't want to accidentally do that. And I've lost my seam ripper cap. There it is. Oh, you guys are allowed to laugh at me. You guys are absolutely allowed to laugh. I am providing the entertainment today. All right. So now I'm going to line it back up. We're going to re-attempt to sew the seam in the sashing. And we will do this again. Sewing redo. Yep, you guys are allowed to laugh at me. I am giving you permission. I do this. This is something that does happen. I know it happens to everyone. But I promise it does happen to me too. It really does. All right. And give this a quick press to get the seams to lay flat, because they were gorgeously flat a minute ago before I had to rip them apart. So get them to lay flat again, the other direction, and we are going the right direction this time. All right. So how many of you have projects that are still waiting that are this old? Like I said, if I had to guess, this project is about 12 years old. And it's been repurposed now from its original intended, here's what I was going to do with it. Let's see, it happens less where you are than what I see here, Tammy. Oh, you're so sweet, Ollie. You're so very kind. I know you're full of lies, but you're very kind to lie to me like that. All right, I'm gonna give it about an inch. And we're gonna put a needle down again. There we go. Chloe does. Chloe has a project this old. Now, have you ever repurposed a project like this? Like you started it, it's going one direction, you got things to a stopping point, you put it away, and when you come back to it, you are just deciding that it's not going to be that. Oh, gotcha. Chloe says she started sewing about 3 years before her daughter was born in 2013. So you've been going about 15 years. That's not too bad. Oh, no, wait. You started sewing in 13. Okay. Is that right? Do I get that right? Feel free to correct me. I do not mind. I mean, heck, I just had to use my seam ripper. If I minded if people corrected me, we got other problems. All right, and yes, I do have plenty of room to get this last one on there. So we will have a full 3 on here on this strip set. So, and it was crazy because I tuned into Laura Lynn for just a few minutes earlier today. Long enough to enter the giveaway, and then I kind of left the chat because I was needing to do something else. Chloe says she started sewing in 2010. Awesome. Yeah, that's about 15 years. This year becomes 15. I was looking at her project today, and she was working on triangles. I'm just going, you guys, how is this happening? Like, I'm not intentionally taking inspiration from everybody else, but goodness gracious. Oh, and nobody got back to me with which Tiffany video that I've seen so far. So the Tiffany video saga is still open for an extra ticket. All right, so now we've got a long string of our 5 little pieces that could become pennants if we wanted them to be sideways pennants, hanging up decorations, Halloween, early Halloween decorations. Okay, so I got those 5 sewn. So I'm going to take it to the ironing board, and let me make you guys larger on the ironing board surface, or the cutting board surface. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the sashing away. So let me just bring my iron over so I'm not having to reach so far. As my cutting board support thing is acting all funky. Hang on. If it can go wrong, it will, and it will do it on a live. That is always what happens, right? Let's see. I think that's the first time I've ever seen it do that. But I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see if it's okay. Because I don't want the heat to go all the way to my cutting mat. All right. So we're going to press this over. Welcome in, William. Glad you're here, sir. Glad you're here. Yeah, this support thing, this Lazy Susan thing has just decided to give me some grief today. I don't know what I did to it. I must have called its mother a name or something. I don't know. Yes, Chloe, they are. She says triangles are just out there in the quilting universe. They are. They are. It's just really crazy that here I am. If I do, like, I'm doing I started the temperature rings, which is the double wedding ring, and then everybody got on board, and they really everybody wants to do double wedding ring quilts right now. So that's on the list. And then here I am, and I started working on triangles yesterday, and today I'm seeing videos for triangles. Yes, they are, William. He says everyone is live today. They are. They are. They are. They are. And all of my equipment is malfunctioning today. So I'm taking one for the team, so maybe everybody else's lives will go smoothly. That's what I'm gonna hope for everyone else. I'm not wishing anybody else to have to deal with it. Oh, you know what? And I started pressing the seam allowances. I was about to start pressing the seam allowances the wrong direction. Can you tell it is? I love it. Chloe, you're so sweet. She says, girl, you are on trend. You're fantastic. Thank you, Chloe. If I needed the encouragement, that was it. That was it. Definitely. Am I on trend or am I the trend starter? The unintentional trend starter. Because that could be the case too. That could definitely be the case. Oh, and my iron spit a little bit. And yeah. We're just gonna take it as it comes. We're gonna make it. There's nothing that's going to harm this project any more than sitting in a drawer for 12 years. So nothing is going to harm this project. It is what it is. It is what it will become. And we're not going to let anything stop us today. We are going to do everything that we can on this project. At least for the next hour and a half. We're looking about an hour and a half still. So we're gonna see what we can get done. And me sitting is going to make it a little bit easier for me to keep my brain focused and thinking, so I'm not dealing with that. So we're good. We're good. We're working on it, right? I love it, William. You're so funny. He says that he's taking notes, so I'm definitely setting trends. Aw, you're so sweet. You're so very, very sweet. It kind of pumps me up, you know. It's here I am. I'm doing my blood, sweat, and tears and coming up with these ideas, and the next thing I know, everybody's doing them, and I'm just going, wait a minute, that was supposed to be all me. And that was where my mind was. We're just gonna go with that. We're just gonna go with that. All right, so now we've got our sashing attached to one side of these triangles. And the seam the right way instead of the wrong way. Right. I'm all about it, Ollie. All about it. Okay, so now my table thing looks like it's the right direction. Let me see. Hang on. All right, I don't know what the deal is. We're just gonna set it off to the side and we'll deal with it next time we need it. All right, so we're gonna go back down to this other end. We're gonna go back down to this bottom and we're gonna label it a bottom, okay? So we have made a decision that this is the top and this is going to be the bottom. William says he sews upside down. That's what happens when you're on the other side of the world, sir. That is what happens. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Since I've decided that this is the bottom, we are now going to start giving ourselves a defined bottom to these pieces. So I'm going to turn it. I'm going to get my extras out of the way. We'll pull our stack back when we need it. Let's see, William, if you get a universal feed arm machine, you could be all over the place. Oh, let's not encourage that right now, Holly. Let's not encourage the we don't have what we need yet mentality. We are trying to stay on the no buy. We are trying desperately to stay on a no buy. All right. So I am going to have to stand up just so I can see. But this ruler does have a 60-degree angle. Okay. I know you guys may not be able to see it, but I can. So I'm going to line that 60-degree line up with my seam. And I'm not trimming off very much at all. I am just going to be trimming off just enough to get a straight line. And then we're going to move it down so I can see where my straight line is. And we're going to continue that straight line into the sashing. So that way I can cut that sashing piece off. So now we have our next sashing piece complete with, thread strands. Yeah. Yay. All right. So that's trimmed. Okay. So our next trim on this is to get it separated from the next piece. Nobody takes serious willpower. Yes, it does. He's done so fantastic. He's done so fantastic. All right, so here's what we're going to do. To trim this sashing piece here, I could do this one in two ways. I could go ahead and start on the next triangle, which is what I would normally do. But we're going to take this a little bit out of the normal, and we are going to trim it up so that these can be separate blocks, and we can work within the space that we have. So I'm just going to line this up, lining up against my cut edge of my triangle piece, and then we're just going to trim that off. So are we going to end up with a lot of waste? Yeah, that's okay. We'll make it work, okay? So we have one trimmed. So now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and trim the tops on all of these because that's going to make trimming the bottoms a little bit easier, I think. We're going to go with that for the moment. That's the mentality we're going to use, is that we're helping Tammy out. Okay, so we've got a top trimmed. And this way I won't have a big string of pieces too. So this is not just a cut straight across like your normal chain piecing when you're sewing like 4 square or 4 patches or 9 patches. You can't just cut straight across because your seam is not going to be straight across. Now it might be once we put the finished piece together, but it's not there yet. We are not to a full cut across piece yet. Let's see. Ali says could not have made the brown any shorter or you would be missing the points. Yep. It's all right. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry one bit because, again, this is a UFO project from way back when. And just the fact that it is getting some time in the air and the light and the thread and the ruler and the iron, like it's getting all the love that it did not get for so many years. So I'm not going to be mad about it being a little bit more challenging. Not going to be mad one bit. All right, so I'm going to line my 60-degree line up again. And I'm going to see if I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So I'm going to line my 60-degree line up with the opposite side because I know my line on the other side was going to be fine. This way I don't have to keep moving the ruler, so I can line it up to trim the bottom edge and make it flat at the same time that I also trim off that extra little bit of sashing. So now I have a full measure. Okay, so I'm going to grab something real quick. Bear with me just a second. Let me go grab it. And we're going to make this even a little bit easier. So if you guys have not been to Harbor Freight in a really long time, this is your cue to go visit Harbor Freight. It gives you the ability to hang on to your ruler without risking like the ruler slipping and without you having to put your hand flat. And I apologize that I hit the camera. And you can move the ruler wherever you need it to be. I've got it positioned right now. I've got the handle positioned where I can still see my 60-degree line down here. And instead of having to put my hand flat, I can just rest the heel of my hand on this, and it's preventing the ruler from moving. This ruler, I've tried everything to make it sticky and keep put, but it does not like me. So that is how I do it's going to stick. It's going to stick. I don't care, it's going to stick. So I give it, you know, a serious boost. A serious boost. All right. So again, I'm going to line up my 60 degrees. And then I'm going to go as far as it will let me go. And where I'm only just trimming off a few threads. And here we go. I did lose a little bit, and it's more than 1/4 of an inch. But I'm not going to panic about it yet. It may come out in the wash. It may not. We're going to see what it comes out to be when I get down to it. We're just going to, we're going to let it see. Let's see. So does anybody have plans for this Saturday? Like, are you guys spending the day doing anything other than just being on YouTube watching me and wasting away your lives? I'm just kidding. You know I gotta be the comedian, right? You know I gotta be it. All right. So, did I not trim? I did not trim. Okay. Make sure all that trimmed. Yep, all that trimmed. That did not. Okay, now it's trimmed. Let's see. All right, so we only have one that's kind of short. That's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. All right, so what we're going to have is we're going to have these two sitting like that on the quilt. And then we're going to have, let me get my other pieces out that I need. Then we're going to have these pieces set in, okay? So what I still need to do is I can either put a piece here on this side of these pieces, or I can put a piece on the opposite side of here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to add an extra piece to the sides of these. So that will also give me the chance to trim the bottoms of these up so they all kind of fall in the same way, okay? So the key is going to be making sure that I start it here and sew down to here. Chloe says she is just cutting fabric, waiting for her middle daughter to get back from a friend's house. Oh, you have to work tomorrow. Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Working is the pits. When you have no choice. You know, working is working. Working is working. Okay. I'm going to pull that extra thread out of the way. And we'll square up the whole row once we have the whole row done. All right, let me bring you guys back over. And let's see. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I missed anybody. I didn't miss anybody. You guys are quiet. I'm also talkative. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and sew these together so that I have the long enough strip so I don't have to worry about flipping it later and ripping a seam back out. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. I should have done that the first time, but you know, live and learn, right? Live and learn. Today, sewing is going to be fun and enjoyable, and we're not going to cry over anything, including spilled perfume. Oh, you're fine, Chloe. She says, sorry, just cutting, doing laundry. You're good. I started laundry too, believe me. You know, when I've been going in the laundry room and our laundry room bulb has been flickering. So my husband knows that I was in the laundry room because then I started fussing at him because I needed to change the bulb out for me. Oh, I'm not getting up on a ladder, not going to try it. Not today. Not feeling it. Just not feeling it. So if you're doing a no-buy, what is the one thing that you would love to be able to buy? Atlanta or Alicia from Quilty Bird. Oh, very cool. Very cool. I will probably end up missing it too because that's going to be 5 p.m. I might be able to catch some of it. I don't know if I can, but oh my gosh. I'm glad you said something, Chloe. Thank you for letting me know. I will be watching for her. Guys, if you've not checked out Alicia over at Quilty Bird Piecing, if she said, or Chloe says that she's planning to be live Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. She is fantastic. She's great to watch. New content creator to the YouTube world. Go check her out. Give her some love too. I will not be live then on Monday. That is not my time for Monday. If I am live at all, it will be hanging out with William. Oh no, Judy. Okay, so Judy broke her no buy this month. I need to know what you bought. Oh, Chloe has a PTO meeting. Oh, those are rough. I never liked those. I was never the PTO friendly mom. I was the one that they hoped did not come to the PTO meeting because I would say something to someone about something and they didn't like me for that. So, okay, so Judy, since you broke your no buy, I gotta know, what did you buy? What was your weakness? What was your weakness? I did not sign up for a no buy this year, so I'm continuing with my normal budget of limited buy. Oh goodness. You're on the school board and the school is closing. Oh gosh. That's rough. That means there's a lot of work involved. I'll leave that to you guys. I'm not going to join the massive amounts of work involved part right now. I feel for you though. I definitely feel for you. Let's see. Because let's see, what have I bought this year? I have bought fabric. I hear something rattling too, guys. That's why I'm looking funky at things because I'm hearing rattling as I'm sewing. I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, we're eliminating two possible reasons it could be rattling. Yep, we're going with that. All right, let's see. All right, and let's see. I'm gonna make sure where I'm at. I need to give myself enough room. You bought Tula Pink Fat Quarter Bundle, Full Moon 2, bought a spare bobbin case from long arm. Yeah, okay. Fair. Very fair. The spare bobbin case really might be a necessity. That doesn't really count as a no by need, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think. I mean, it might not be a necessity yet, but it might become a necessity. The Tula Pink, I'll give you a free rein on that because that one, you know, Tula Pink doesn't stay in stores very long once it's out. So if you really like Tula Pink, that's something to buy when you see it. Don't wait on Tula Pink. Her fabric lines are a hot commodity. So I haven't seen that line, but I like Tula Pink, but I'm not buying a whole lot of anything. I bought fabric for Quilts of Valor. And I bought me one piece of gnome fabric. I bought anything else this year? I don't think I have. I've traded for things this year. But I don't think I've bought anything else, have I? Other than Quilts of Valor fabric, I don't think I've bought anything this year. And those are going directly into quilts that are for veterans, so, or, you know, service members. How you guys like the sound of Ricky? Ricky is a lot louder than Beauty. I don't know how well you can hear her. She's a loud machine some days. She probably needs a little bit of oil too. And last one, that fat quarter bundle said, take me home. And I said, sure. The lady said it'll be coming out in the late summer, early fall. I don't know if she was pulling my leg. Oh, so you got it early. That's fantastic. That's kind of hard to turn down too. I totally understand. I mean, I didn't buy, I'm trying to think of what all I've been in front of to buy and I haven't bought. Okay, I bought a little bit at the garage sale, the Quilters garage sale. I bought a little bit of fabric there, and I bought a pattern. So I spent $11 there. $11 at the Quilters garage sale. And that got me 3 different items too. Remember, I came home with freebies. Can't turn down the freebies, right? All right. So my thread and my bobbin out. My thread and my top is having issues. Let's see. I can't pull my thread, so I think it's my bobbin thread. We're going to see. We're going to see. I'm done with sewing that line. I started with a very limited bobbin, so yep, that's exactly what it is. That's probably also why Ricky was so loud. So when the bobbin doesn't get wound properly at the beginning, you can sometimes end up with extra threads. And that's what happened. So extra threads, it's okay. I have a spare bobbin and we're gonna use it. Now I've got a couple more behind me. So if we run out of that many, we'll see then. Now once I get these sewn, oh, you know what? Do I have enough? I do. We're gonna sew one more. I'm gonna go ahead and put one more piece through the machine so that we have a clean end to the strip set. So let's see, you had a problem with your bobbin case, started using spare. So when I was at the quilt show, the Grace representative looked at it. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. It's nice when customer service is like that, where they can just go ahead and like they're taking care of you while you're in front of them and you don't have to go do anything else. Ah, so you picked up a replacement spring and extra case. That makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna take this piece. This is gonna become my outside piece on my left-hand side. So I'm going to flip it and we're gonna go ahead and sew sashing on here as well while we're at the machine. So that way we can go ahead and put this in place and not have to worry about it. So that's going to be our goal, is put it in place and not have to worry. And then once I press them, then we can start putting them together into a full row and it can go up on the wall. Yeah, I would have picked up a replacement case and spring too. I would not have hesitated. My long arm that I'm selling does have an extra case. So I think that's what the previous owner was thinking as well. Have an extra one just in case. Welcome in, Joyce. Glad you're here. Glad you made it in. All right. And so we're going to go back big screen over at the cutting table. And I'll bring my iron over and we will go do that thing again. We'll go do that set of things again. That is going to be our mode of operation today. All right, let's see. Is that, yep, that is it. All right. All right, so these are the ones from the previous strip set. So I'm going to set them up and put them out of the way. And we are going to move the ironing board over after I try to pinch my fingers. Guys, I am pulling out all the stops today. We're using the seam ripper. We're trying to pinch fingers. We're doing all the stuffs. We sewed seams the wrong way. Yeah, we're doing it all today. If it's not happening here today, it's not happening at all. Okay? We're just doing it all. All right, so I'm going to fold this back kind of finger press it back and then press it. And this is a rotating stand underneath my mat, guys. So I apologize if this gets anybody kind of like dizzy. I'm not intending to. You were working on a Saturday night and had issues. It was a sign that I needed to have a few backups. Yes, absolutely. Especially if your normal shop is pretty close and then you still have an issue on a Saturday night. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to get a backup of anything. Kind of with the world that we're going into with not having Joann Fabrics, hanging around. Welcome in, Christina. Glad you are here. Thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it. So yeah, if you've got if you were, part of the crew that had a Joann's nearby or big box fabric store, craft store, whatever nearby, and you're facing not having that, you'll start to do the same thing. You'll start to stock up on things that you might not have before. This is also going to change kind of my behavior with buying fabric, because sometimes I would go, well, I like that fabric. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Let me only get 2 yards. Now, instead of doing that, I'm going to go, okay, I like that fabric. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll get 2 yards, but let me get this coordinating fabric as well while I'm here, and let me get this coordinating fabric as well while I'm here. So, depending on what I end up doing, I have plenty. Same thing also with project sizes. So, let's say I'm planning to make a throw-sized quilt with a pattern, or baby quilt, something along those lines. Let's say I'm planning to do that, and I don't know, I've got the pattern measurements in front of me, it's telling me how much to get. I may get double of what the throw size says, just to make sure that when I go to do the project, I don't run into a fabric shortage problem because I did not buy enough to have a little extra. So I will be buying a little bit extra here and there when I buy fabric in the future, because I won't be able to just pop over to, granted it's a 2.5 hour drive for me. I can't pop over to the local Joann's and get a match. And Hobby Lobby, for all the good that they are, in having fabric and having some supplies and all, they are much more decoration friendly than they are fabric and quilter friendly, in my opinion. So there's a lot of times that Hobby Lobby fabrics will not match what I might have picked up at my local quilt shop or what might already be in my stash. So if I'm trying to do some kind of match or something and I'm off somewhere at a local quilt shop or whatever, I may be buying more than what I used to buy. So it's going to make me have to rethink my budget. All right, so we're going to do the same thing that we were doing at the end last time, where I clipped them all apart first. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to clip these apart, and then we'll come back and we'll trim up the bottoms. So now, have any of you guys done a quilt with these kind, or like triangles with strips? Have you done a hexie quilt? Because you can make hexies this way too. This is the right size for hexies. Like this, or this is the right angle for hexies. The 60-degree angle. How many of you have done a quilt with these? Something along these lines before. My dog is outside my room and whining, guys. He's outside the studio. He is dying to get in. He is so mistreated. So I apologize if you can hear him. Judy says that she always bought more than she needed just in case she screwed up royally. Oh, yeah, right? Hi, Gladys. She says hello, everyone. We are working on the same projects we were working on yesterday. We are now adding more to our candy corn fire pieces. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it candy corn fire. I don't know if that's going to be the finished name for it. I think it needs a more sophisticated name. But it depends on how frustrated I get with it before we get to that point. It might end up with that name. Chloe says no, but I consider it when Ian did a so long with a free moda pattern by Erica Jackman. Oh, yeah, he was crying. He was whining. Mommy's so mean for having him not in the studio and he can hear me talking. So therefore he thinks he's allowed and he's owed the right to come in here and be underfoot and not being paying attention and distracting and all of that kind of stuff. He thinks he has the right for that, so he's out there whining about it. Oh, Rita says I like it though. Oh, the candy corn fire. Is that what you like? Is the candy corn fire name? All right. So now that we've got that cut, I'm going to come back in and we are going to again use our 60 degree to line up. Now this one I've already trimmed the other side and I did not give enough room. So we're going to end up with a little bit of cut off here too on the outside piece, but that's okay. We'll make it work somehow, some way. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I did not get a full, there we go. Maybe. Okay, hang on. There we go. I did not get a full triangle point. Joyce says she always buys extra because she screws it up. You are not a screw up. Screwing it up does not mean that you are the screw up. It just means that you give yourself extra challenges that nobody else has to experience. That's all it is. That's my story and we're going to stick with it. All right. So now I've got to change this around because my 60 degrees is, actually my 60 degrees is over here. So we're going to move the handle a little bit. We're going to move my chair out of the way too. And we're going to move this up where I can see better to where my 60 degrees is. Here we go. We're on our 60. And hey, there we go. We got it first try. Don't have to move it any. All right. Now, one thing I haven't pointed out specifically with this is that when I sewed these strip sets together to make all of these, there are some seams in here. So I apparently cut strips from the width of fabric and then I sewed seams in here. I don't know why, but apparently I did. So I don't know what that's going to, like why I did that, why it was necessary. I have no earthly idea. But I did it, so there's going to be some seams in the middle of these triangles from where that is going to show up. All right. And we will have an entire row here in just a minute. These came together really fast because they're big. When we get to the smaller ones, it's going to take a lot more time because there's going to be a lot more small pieces to it. And because this is an improv piece, you know, we're improvising. This wasn't like a pattern that I'm following or anything like that. There's a good chance that we will end up with some wonky lines still, and that's going to be okay. We're not going to stress about having some wonky lines. Wonky lines come with the territory when you're working with a UFO that is this old and has seen this much packing and moving it and putting it back in the drawer and packing and moving it, putting it back in the drawer. There's been a lot of that. So we're gonna play with it here in just a second. All right, and I do have a fold in my ruler from where this is a collapsible ruler or collapsible mat. So sometimes my cutter does not like to cut at that point. All right, so now that we've got this, what's going to happen is we're going to have this piece as our leftmost piece. This will be our next piece, and it will line up probably, you know what, we may just go ahead and line it up that way. And then our next piece is going to be down here again. So if you guys can see, that's how that's going to lay out. So it's going to offset it just a little bit. And I could actually offset it even more if I wanted to. And we may just end up with a little bit more trimming, but that's okay. What do you think? Should I match them up closer, or do you like the offset? The offset better? We're going to put this on the wall real quick. Let me bring you guys over. Let's see. Got to bring you to that one. Here we go. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see what we got. All right, now this line is going to be down at the bottom of the quilt, okay? So please do not panic. It is not going to go up this high once we're done with it. But I need the extra room, I think. Or I need to be able to reach a little bit. If I offset it, then it's going to give a little bit more movement. And at the bottom of the row, this black will end up touching the black. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think so far. Let's see. And some of this is going to be taken in because we got the seam allowances, so it's not going to be quite this big the whole way across. Christina says she likes the offset. Okay, that works. Because I think I do too. I think I do too. Because once we start dealing with, once we have that offset, it just kind of gives it a little bit of movement back and forth. And I still have 3 more to put up, but I don't have room for it. So that means that this is going to be big enough to be a good size quilt, which is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a decent size quilt. So we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. I'm going to go ahead and sew. We're going to sew. You guys want me to sew? I'm going to sew. We're going to sew, and then we're going to press and put it up there, and then we're going to sew and press and put it up there, and all of that. So you guys can actually see how it's coming together. And this is, again, not the original plan, but I like it. I do like it. Chloe says she loves how it looks like mountains, right? I mean, and I'm living here with the mountains, so it's kind of cool to be able to add mountains into it. I really have kind of always wanted to do something that looks like mountains too. I've always wanted to live near the mountains, so if this is the way that I can get there, I'm not going to complain. Not going to complain. Not at all. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep with the theme. So I grabbed the furthest left 2, and so we're going to grab the next left 2. Oh, you know what? No, I can't do it that way. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. I thought I could do it that way, but I can't. Now that I think about it. All right. So this piece right here had both pieces on here. This next piece that would be going on only has one side. So I'm going to need that extra piece up here to reposition it. So I can't just sew the next bottom and top pieces without trying to figure out how to offset them properly. Chloe says, I really don't like cutting background music or background fabric. I feel like it never ends. There are times that it never ends. I can assure you, there are definitely times. All right, so let's grab all of these extras. And we're going to, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the piece that I've sewn onto the cutting mat, or the pressing mat, wrong side up, so I can see the seam. And I'm going to trim off my threads. I've gotten kind of into the habit of trimming off my extra threads as I go, because I've been running into extra problems lately if I don't. So it's not a necessity, but it is for me right now. It's making me feel better. So we're going with making me feel better. And make sure that you note I am pressing, I am not ironing. Pressing is you set the iron in place and you let the iron and the heat and the weight of the iron do the work for you. You don't set it down and then start shoving it and moving it around. So I am pressing. And this brown has no starch on it, and the triangle pieces do. So there will be a slight distortion there, but that's okay. We'll make it work. All right, so now that I've got this whole piece put together, what I'm going to do, if you guys can see this right here, I've got an uneven edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to trim that so that this is a solid straight line. And then I can line up my next piece towards matching with it. So let's move the cutting mat out of the way. And we're going to take our ruler and line it up. And we are just going to slice off the extra. I am making sure that my ruler is up against my seam allowance, like I'm matching my seam allowance line or my seam line, so that I have a clean line that I cut from. So now when I put the next piece that looks like this on here, let me grab it. So when I grab this next piece, now I have a seam line to work with that's going to give me the correct offset. Okay, so if you run into problems, that's the piece I was about to miss, is cutting that. Hi Katie, glad you're here. Guys, Katie Crafts is here. She has joined the chat for the day. Gotta have some fun with it, right? So we are still working on the project from yesterday, where we're doing a different look today. We went a different direction. We're not going to go the same direction that we were going. Now here's the other thing. I am also going to position this with a 1/4 inch hanging over. So I'm going to have a 1/4 inch little tail pointing off north of my piece, because when I go to sew this, I want that seam line to line up the whole distance. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, put it right up against my bottom piece. So I can see it. It's up against my bottom piece. And I'm seeing exactly where that 1/4 inch is. And that is where my seam is going to start. So I'm going to position my piece down just a little bit so that I know exactly where that 1/4 inch is, and so that I am matching it as closely as I can. So that's going to prevent me from having to trim off a whole bunch of extra because we don't have a straight line across the bottom or top of the quilt pieces. So we're going to give ourselves as much of an advantage as we can to get that 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put my needle down and reposition the rest of my pieces. Now, if you were a pinner and you like to pin things, you could have definitely stopped right there and gone back and pinned everything to get everything to line up. If you are having trouble with your machine not feeding things properly and things come out with a wave, that is when you need to swap over and grab your walking foot. I'm not seeming to have that problem yet, so we're going to assume that I'm not going to have that problem. I'm already working with wonky enough fabric that if it does have it, it's not going to be the end of the world. And I'm making it up as I go. Hi, Mona. Glad you're here. She says hi, Tammy, and hi, everyone. Glad you made it in. We are working more on what do we decide we were going to call this? The Candy Corn Fire Project? Is that the name we went with, Judy? Somebody needs to remind me. What do we call this thing? If it's Candy Corn Fire, that's fine. Oh, you're fine, Mona. She says, going to lurk hard to see chat. I will read the chat out. That's fine. Joy says, Mona, how are your eyes feeling now? I don't know what happened to your eyes, but I really hope your eyes feel better soon. Whatever is going on. I know that when I'm having trouble seeing, I really struggle. I really, really struggle. Okay, so it is Candy Corn Fire. Okay. Mona says, Joyce, they are still burning, but not as bad. I'm in a dark room. Perfect. That is a good place to be. That is a good place to be. All right, so I'm going to press this. It is going to be a little off camera, so I don't have to lug the mat back over. But again, when you press, please don't move your iron. Set it down. Let the iron and the heat and the weight, let all of it do its work for you so you don't have to struggle with that. Rita says, Mona, I know that one. And she says for her, the chat still looks all blurry. If you are using a computer, you can always increase the size of the text in the chat. I'm not sure on all mobile devices how you would do that. I'm sure there probably is a way. I just don't know how to do it. I would look at the accessibility options on your devices, and that would possibly give you a leg up on getting it to be more readable. All right. And I have a little bit of a fuzzy thread here, so I'm going to trim that off. I got a lot of fuzzy threads on this thing, but that one's bothering me right now, so that's why we're trimming it. All right. So now we've got 3 sewn together. So now we're going to have the same problem that we had last time. And up at this top, I have a straight line coming up, and then I have this piece cutting over. So we are just going to take our ruler and line it up. Make sure we are following a seam line, not just the edge of the fabric in case the fabric is a little wonky for whatever reason. And we are going to trim off that extra. And so now we have a complete seam line. And now we can take a piece that looks like that one, which is going to be this, and we can rinse and repeat. So it's just going to be a matter of laying it down in place. Let's see, Rita says, my computer is 14 dpi, so it is large. Myself, I just have it read to me so I don't have to see it. Yeah, that makes sense. That really makes a lot of sense. I have had to help people set that up on their mobile devices in a lot of situations. And for me personally, I have, with all my other disability progression and problems that I have done that consideration of what accessibility looks like for me. I guess is the best way to put it. What does accessibility look like for me and for my life? And for me, I could lose my vision. I would still be okay. It would not be the end of the world for me. I would be bummed, don't get me wrong, but my vision would be okay to lose. My legs would be okay to lose. But my hands and my hearing are the two that I could not live without. So I've toyed around and played around with a lot of presets and settings because accessibility is a big deal for me. Very big deal. So I hope my machine doesn't end up being too loud. The text-to-speech feature is good and bad at the same time. It is. It is. Text-to-speech cannot work in some secure sites because of security protocols, or it could be reading things back to you that you did not want it to read, or it doesn't convert things properly. And if you have an accent or loud background noise, it can be a problem. Oh yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. One of the things I did for some of my customers is I actually enabled text to speech on one of my devices years ago, so that I had to live with it for, I did about 2 weeks, I think, that I lived with it. I just had text to speech turned on for everything, and that way I could understand what my customers were dealing with. Rita says, my eyesight is gone, legs are gone, but I must keep hearing, and the use of my hands are a must. Yeah. Or read emoji as words. Those, I bet those are funny. Those are funny. All right. So I've got the next one sewn into place. So we are now sitting at 4 triangles attached. So now I need to press this last one. We're going to trim, and then we're going to keep pressing. We're going to keep going. I think we'll get this row done, and then the rest will have to wait for another time, because I think we'll hit like that hour and a half that I think I was going to budget for myself, where I can handle. Hi, Sandy. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining the chat today. I appreciate it. Lots and lots and lots. And guys, don't forget, please hit that thumbs up. YouTube really does count that. So if there's not a thumbs up, YouTube thinks that people just came in and just watched for a little bit. Even if you chat, if you don't thumbs up, like, it does make a difference. So I appreciate every little bit of help we can get. Every little bit of help. Oh yes, the emoji where it's a pink hand waving. Yeah, the text to speech on that is gotta be funky. The text to speech says pink hand waving goodbye. Ha ha ha. That's so fun. Oh yeah, you have. I've been missing you. She says that she's missed me. She's been busy. Oh, thank you. Thank you for missing me. I mean, if you want to hit me, just do. Make sure it's a pillow. We're not, no throwing books at me, okay? No throwing books at me. If you're gonna hit me, don't hit me with a book, okay? I told someone, or someone told me that they were not going to be at my social thing tonight that I'm going to, and I said, well, I will miss you. And that's what he came back with, was that might be a good thing depending on what you were going to hit me with. So oh, all right. So now we've got this one in place. Now we're going for one of these. So we're going back and forth, remember? So Rita says that there's a few emojis it gets completely wrong and no comment on what it says. Oh, you were on vacation too. Okay, you gotta know. Inquiring minds need to know. Where did you go? And did you have a great time? Did you have a great time? My family, or my husband's family, to be honest, my husband's family is planning a trip to the beach in like Pensacola area and such. And of course, that is all the way across the country from us. So it's not really feasible for us to join in on the family vacation. And it really kind of stinks because, you know, it would be kind of nice. It would be kind of nice to be able to join the family for a vacation. You went to St. Thomas. Oh my goodness. Um, I have never been to St. Thomas. And she says it was wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Vacations are a wonderful thing when you're not well, okay. I'm a parent. I'm a parent, guys. Um Vacations are wonderful when you're not having to monitor the kids to make sure that they're having a good time. I was always the responsible mom during the vacations. I'd like to have a vacation that was actually a vacation. um, Rita says, "Oh wow, Florida, yes." So that's apparently the special place for his family. Like that's they all grew up in Alabama, so going down to Florida was no big deal. Um, I mean, they're still traveling from, you know, Missouri area, some of them, to go to the family vacation, but that's really all the way across the country for us now, being up here in Wyoming. So please tell me I'm sewing this on the right direction. Please tell me. Okay, I am. I had a panic moment, guys. I had a panic moment. We are all allowed to have panic moments. It is allowed to happen. Absolutely allowed. All right. So there will end up being a part 3 and probably part 4 to this quilt. Just saying. We'll see if I can do part 3 tomorrow. You guys want me to work on this tomorrow too? You guys want me to do this tomorrow, and then I will still do 365 tomorrow night. But if I have the energy and brain cells, we can do this tomorrow too if you guys want. All right. So we now have that last one on here. So let me press it, and then we're going to trim and do the next one. And we're going to do the same basic thing as we go through and add all of the strips for all of the triangle sets. And we'll just adjust the sashing for each of the triangle sets until we get the size that we need for that row. I should check into Patty Mayo in Key West. He has a retreat that's free to any first responder. Can teach you diving and takes you out on the boat. That would be fantastic if we were actually going to be able to go. I don't think it's going to be in the cards. I think I'm going to be missing Quilt Wyoming this year. We're going to be moving in June, so it may just not work this year. I don't remember the dates. I think they're talking the end of July, maybe, or middle of July. Don't quote me. I don't know for sure. I'll have to double check what days they were talking, but I don't know that I can make it. I wish I could, but I don't know that I can. Okay, so we got this. So now we're going to trim off this little bitty point down by my cheek. Okay? All right. So, oh, I found my rotary cutter, guys, with my fingernail. It's fine. It doesn't hurt, and it did not cut me. My rotary cutter is closed. For the record, it is closed. But the Martellis are kind of still a little exposed even when they're closed. So, my fingernail caught the blade somehow, but that's okay. It's alright. Let's see, Sandy says, "Oh, I'm sure parents need adult-only vacations to relax and recharge." Yes, they do. I don't have children, but I have an older dog who's almost 100% blind, going deaf, and fully diabetic. Oh my gosh, needing insulin 2 times a day. That's a lot. Joy says, "Gotta run if you're still on when I get back. If not, I'll watch replay." Absolutely, Joyce. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I think we'll work on this again tomorrow too, guys. Just depending on how everything goes and how my energy levels are. We're gonna see, and we'll do like we did today. I will put a message up, and it'll be a couple hours beforehand, and then we'll go live for a couple of hours at a time. I think that's what I can handle right now is a couple of hours at a time. All right, so I'm going to reposition this. Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to reposition it so I can see my point down here. And I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make sure that I have 1/4 of an inch hanging over, and I don't. So I'm going to move my piece up just a little bit, up and away, because I want to make sure that I'm giving myself the best shot at having a straight line across the end up here. Because this is the top end, we really don't want to trim the bottom or the top if we don't have to. But if we need to, we will. All right, that one's a little too much now, but that's an easy fix. Rita says, Sandy, I know that one. My 22-year-old service dog in her last couple of years went deaf, then blind. Then the final was when she got cancer and got seizures, but she was 22 and was the greatest. Yeah. When your dogs get to that point, it is definitely hard. It's definitely hard. I'm not looking forward to those days. I know they will eventually come, but I'm not looking forward to those days. We will have them with this one. All right, there we go. And I still have 2 up on the board, and then I got 1 over here still on the counter. So we still got 3 more triangles to go, guys. And then we can see how far out this is. And then we'll figure out setting triangles once we get all of the rows done. So in case we can use scraps and pieces, we've got them. So we're just gonna see. All right. Now the next question I'm gonna have is also going to be whether or not I should put sashing between the rows. But I think we're gonna get all the rows together before we look at whether or not we need to put sashing between the rows. All right. So here's how our mountains are coming out so far. They're giving that movement. So now we're going to press. And let's see. My cord for my iron is stuck between my sewing table, and my cutting table. So I'm betting 1,000 today, guys. Just am. Just am. Let's see. I don't know what the temperature is outside, but it's still pretty cool. Oh, it says it's 39. It doesn't feel that cool in here yet. It's still close to 70 in here. And I have the window open. Oh. All right. I think I got enough steam in there. We got it pressed out. All right. Here we go. I'm loving how this is looking, guys. I mean, it looks even more stunning on camera than what I can see here in person. So I'm seeing this orange is going back and forth, like it's like standing out. This is going to be gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous. I'm excited. I really am. Really am. All right, so we got this one trimmed. And so now our next triangle is this one. And then we'll just have 2 more to go. Were you guys expecting this kind of layout originally? I know this wasn't what I was originally thinking I was going to do with it. I still want to do that other, but I think I'm going to need to get them all to the same size. Because I think offsetting them as much as I was going to have to do, it's just going to be too much. It's just going to be way too much. So I think to do what I was going to do originally, I just need to have all of them the same size. Chloe says, nope, not what she was expecting. I guess that's a good thing sometimes. Expect the unexpected, something like that. That and that one song that everybody keeps singing because of this quilt. The 2-word name after a drink, or the drink got named after the song. Which one was that? Was it the drink that got named after the song, or the song got named after the drink? Because I don't drink that. I don't drink it. And I don't know that I think I've had it like twice. I was never a big fan. So I just can't think. Let's see, 22 years old, remarkable. She must have been well lived and cared for. Yes. Agreed. Very much agreed, Sandy. My first service dog didn't pass away until he hit 16. It looks great, says Christine. Thank you. Carrie says the same thing. It looks great. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I am kind of excited. Because like I said, this project just kind of haunted me. Because what I was originally going to do with it just never came to happen. It was just never in the cards for me to make what I was going to make with it. And I'm done waiting. It just needs to be done. Yeah, it's very well loved, right? Any dog that makes it to 22 is very well loved. I think dogs don't live as long as we do because they need to teach us how to appreciate life. That is my 2 cents on the matter. Oh. All right, pressing that seam out. Or I'm pressing it all towards the brown. So all my seams are pressed in towards the sashings. Oh, and I got a random seam that tried to pop up. Hang on. Let me fix it. Let me fix it. I'm having to reach, so it's a little bit more challenging. Yeah, this is my own design, Sandy. Yeah, it is. So the start yesterday was kind of where I was thinking I was going to go with this, but it's just not, it wasn't going to work as beautifully as I would like. So when it came down to it, I was just like, I'm not in love with that. Let's see what else we can do with it. And I mean, I just pulled the brown out of my stash today. Everybody voted on it. There were votes taken and scores tallied. The brown got the winning vote to just add sashing to it. And last 2. And then I've got a whole bunch of smaller triangles. So this is the largest size triangle. These are the smallest. So this is going to be a progressively different quilt as it goes further up. So we're going to see what it comes out to be. We're freehanding this. Freehanding the whole design. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just trying to make it, come out to be something reasonable. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to put all the rows together separately before we start attaching them to each other. And if, I'm not in love with it, we will add sashing. If I'm in love with it, we won't. We'll see what we need to do. If we need to change colors, we'll change colors and sash, for the rows. We'll do something. We will make this into something we would love to see and hang on to. And these strips were definitely not sewn straight when they were originally sewn. So, I'm working with a lot of challenges. Sadie says, interesting, looking forward to the finished top. So am I. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I mean, I kind of have an idea maybe of what it might look like, but I could be way off. I could be totally way off. It's happened before. I've been way off before. So we're just gonna see what it looks like when I get to that point. And we'll lay this out on the kitchen floor and try again. I mean, I tried to lay this out on the kitchen floor before the live, and I just wasn't loving anything that I came up with. So trying to follow the previous design idea that I started yesterday, I just wasn't loving it. Just was not loving it. So, I mean, this was supposed to be something completely different to begin with. So whatever it comes out to be now is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. All right. Got one more to go. And then we'll have a full row all the way across. And we can kind of see what kind of length we're talking about. Like how long this row actually is. So if I need to do any math before tomorrow, I can do math before tomorrow. Because I promised I'd work on the 365 on Sunday nights for a bit. So that's what we're going to do. So you guys get to see red, white, and black going together. But yeah, for today and then sometime tomorrow, this is the current plan. You guys are gonna get to see this come together and get out of my stash. Get out of my UFO pile. Because it wasn't even a work in progress. Because it was not even in progress. It was seriously a UFO. And I don't have a lot of these kinds of projects that are serious UFOs. Or serious, yeah, UFOs. I don't have a lot of them. This is like kind of an only one. Best way to be creative is what you're doing. Yeah, right? I mean, there's no other way to do it, because, I mean, I could, just trash it all, but why? Why trash fabric if you don't have to? It's perfectly good. It'll still cover you up when it's made into a quilt. It'll still be nice, warm, and cozy and pretty. I just gotta make it look pretty. Oh, yes, Sandy. She says she's got a lot of catching up to do. She hasn't heard of the 365 quilt. Oh, gotcha, Chloe. She says, hope I can stay up tomorrow. I have to work early, right? So the 365 quilt, if you want to look back at last Sunday, I've got a link there for it. Or if you Google the 365 quilt, it's started by Catherine Kerr, or Kerr, Kerr. I don't know how she pronounces her last name, but that way it's open to interpretation. I don't know which way. Got a 1/4 of an inch, so we're good. All right, and so what the 365 quilt is, it is a 365 quilt challenge. No matter where you are in your quilting journey, if you start that 365 quilt, you are going to learn a lot of skills. The January 1st block is always really, really easy. It is just about learning, or just about working on sewing a straight line. That's all it is. Everything is rotary cut. There's no templates required for any part of the quilt. It is completely free to sign up. And when you sign up, then you have access to the complete catalog of all of the blocks. And it makes a 90-inch by 90-inch square quilt when you're done. And you can use scraps, you can use purchased fabrics, you can do it however you like. If you're going to start with, a specific colorway, just make sure you don't mind looking at those fabrics a lot, because you will. Some of the pieces are really, really tiny. Some of the pieces are not so tiny. So there's a lot of differing pieces in the quilt. And I got through about halfway through March when I started working on mine back in 2016. Life kind of took over, got in the way, and I got sidetracked and did not finish my quilt. So I have I have less than 3 months done so far. In the next few weeks, I might catch up to where I'm kind of on course. But I'm just gonna work through putting together blocks. I can't give you any measurements because you got to sign up for the pattern. You got to sign up for the quilt challenge to get the patterns. And depending on where you fall in your journey, it may be, that what am I trying to think of to say? Some blocks may be easy peasy. Some blocks may be the death of you. If you know what I mean. So just realize that it is not a race to finish. But mine's been sitting for a while, so I'm ready to get going on it again. So I did 2 blocks the other night, and I cut for a third already. So when I come in tomorrow night, I'm gonna have probably 3 cut and see how far I get. I think that's gonna be my goal for Sunday nights, is having 3 blocks cut and see how many of that I get put together. March 16th, I'll be taking a break from that, and we'll be working on Fab Farm. Sean from The Guy Who Sews will be here, coming to hang out. And so we'll be working on that then. And yeah, it's just going to be a fun time. It's just going to be fun. Come hang out, come enjoy. No pressure. Chit chat, all of that kind of stuff. Sandy says, I'll look it up. Skill building is always welcome, right? Skill building is actually a skill in and of itself. Okay. So I'm not going to do any more on the machine today. I am going to call it quits here after we put this up on the wall so you guys can see it. So we now have an entire row. All right, and I'm going to fold it in half and grab my tape measure. I usually always have a tape measure handy. And we are going to see how long the bottom of this is and do a quick measurement. So it's not as long as I was thinking it was going to be, but that's okay. Now I always measure things in halves. I don't measure the whole thing, the whole distance. I always measure this way. This is the way that I do a lot of things. Okay, we're at 35 3/4. So 70, actually, by the time I press it out, it might come to 36. So we're looking at about 72 inches wide for our quilt. So that's not too bad of quilt width. This is almost the entire length of a quilt. So it could actually be a quilt by the length, even though it may not be a quilt by the width. It may be like an oversized quilt by the width. But we'll see what we got. We'll see what we end up with. Oh, there we go. All the way to the back. And make sure my seams are laying flat as I put this up here, just because I can. There we go. There we go. So we now have 1 row up there. Sandy says I like it, right? It's very it is candy corn. It's definitely candy corn. It's got that vibe going. But it does also have the mountain feel. And it does also have like sunrise or sunset feel to it. I'm actually kind of pleased. I'm really kind of pleased with how it's looking. So now I'm going to see what the next row is going to look like once we come back to this. So just look for a live for tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to do one or not. We're going to see. And if I can, I'll pop on. We'll do a couple of hours and call it quits. What I am looking at is I may start doing overnight lives. if that makes sense. I know that a lot of you will probably be sleeping. Oh, you are so right, Sandy. She says, I see Sedona, Arizona. Yes, you are right on the money. You are right on the money. It really does have that vibe to it. It really does. Um, I can't wait to see what my husband thinks too once he once he sees the new arrangement. Um, but we're gonna see how I can handle what I can handle. My medical has kind of shifted a little bit again. So I'm gonna have a little bit of insomnia here and there, and I may need to do my lives at night. Um, what that means is that you may not be able to catch me live, and that's okay. That is perfectly fine if you don't catch me live. I might catch, people across the world that normally can't see me, um, or can't catch me live. So, but just be aware. I will start popping on doing more pop up lives. Um, I may be doing more structure for my regular lives coming up, just so that I have something to fall back on. And then I'll do pop up lives as I can handle them. Right? Sandy, she says insomnia. Ugh. Yeah, I had a little bit of it last night. If I don't take something, I am not sleeping right now. Um, and it just has to do with all of my medical that I've got going on. So um, it's not anything new. It's not anything to worry about necessarily. It's just back to what I was before I moved to Wyoming and was able to get the medical care that I needed while I'm waiting for insurance issues to get fixed. I'm just back in that holding pattern. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. So I want to thank you guys for coming out today. Thank you for coming to hang out. I really do appreciate it. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you've not liked the video, please hit the like button. YouTube really does count all of that, guys. They really do. And if you like the content here, please let your friends know that you enjoy watching, this weird, quilter out of Wyoming that does some kind of crazy and weird stuff sometimes. Oh, thank you, Chloe. So just let everybody know, hey, you might enjoy this channel. Have them come check it out, see if they enjoy my content as well. I would greatly appreciate it. I will probably not catch William's live tonight. I might not be on his live. I might be in the chat, but might not be on it with him. But I will be live tomorrow night for After Sunset Sunday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We are doing the triple play again, so you will see Jess over at So Blessed by Jess, starting at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Then you will see William over at My So-Called Life at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and then you will be able to come over here for 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will hang out for a couple of hours, guys. So thank you so much for being here. Y'all have a great afternoon. Thank you for stopping by on a Saturday afternoon. I will see you guys